Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Lechtech Moshe podcast. We continue with Pele Yoeitz, page 261 in the Art School. We are on day 103 of the Hachseg program, and now we are going to turn our attention to the Indian of Bas, daughters, and how they're a unique, special gift, and the process, how we're supposed to raise daughters, that special relationship, how we're meant to go about in all different ways, marrying them off, raising them. We discussed Ben before, so there's definitely a contrast, as we shall Be'ez Hashem see. I've seen a disgraceful way of conduct in certain locales where it happens that a man has a daughter that's born into his family, and instead of this being news that's received with joy, tremendous simcha, people make jokes and mock this unbelievable fortune. We probably wouldn't believe this if we didn't hear it, we didn't see it brought down black and white in a credible source like the Pele Yoeitz. But he writes in his Musa Sefer, he brings it to our attention that people would say the most insane, unfathomably disgusting things. One would say that the stench of this baby is terrible, and others would say that this is just a misfortune, and it's hard to believe, but this is what happened. The situation became so unbearable to the point that when one had a daughter, they had to literally hide themselves from the amounts of mockery, of insults, because they felt worthless and useless, and they literally were near death. There were people running after them just to insult them with this craziness of insults. And says the Pele Yoeitz that these actions are truly upsetting to me, and he applies the pasuk in Mishle that says, one who mocks a pauper insults his maker. We know this is brought down in Gemara, but the side of here is that a poor person isn't at fault for being poor. It's Hashem who decreed his poverty, and therefore one who disparages, who mocks this poor person, is essentially making fun of the Eibishter, the Tzelem Elokim, the Creator. And the Pele Yoeitz is saying that in a similar vein, for whatever reason, these people are mocking him for having a baby girl, which is out of his control. This is something out of his control. And Ba'etzim, you're mocking Hashem. And to such people, the pasuk says, Loyig Larash Chir Faiseu. Kihin him mifals timim deim. So noisin abanam lemishayitza v'banas lemishayitza nimsa shamal galedas abanas ach neged Hashem devare. That it says that anyone who is foolish, stupid, brazen enough to make fun of Hashem's creation is making fun of Hashem, and Hashem will take care of it. That's Hashem's cheshbon. We don't have to worry. That's really, there's nothing else to be said. Like, we can't understand, we can't wrap our heads. How can you make fun of having a baby girl? But says the Pele Yoeitz, you're making fun of the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is going to resolve this. The Eibishter is the Dayan, Don Yechidi. Mavados Leitzanas Kiravu, and aside from the Isra of Leitzanas, of making jokes, which is a Avera of Yesim, is a Yishtos Gada B'Ktsas Burim. There's a great absurdity found among these people. She'im Yalda Ishta Zachar Ayav Mechav Del Kavan Gadol. That if the person's wife had a son, then they'll love the baby and they'll honor the wife, the child and the wife. They'll be mechabed her, the mother. But if she bears a daughter, then the husband will distance himself from his own wife. Mind-boggling, perplexing. And the abandonment will be great, as well as the sadness. How foolish are these men? What complaint could they have against their wives? that Hashem sent them a baby girl. Did she go to the marketplace and decide to choose a baby girl over a baby boy? Furthermore, why does this man concern himself with the hidden things that are beyond him? It's all to the Eivishter. And Hashem gave you a healthy baby, you tippish for not just being thankful and gracious and thanking your wife. Goes on and on to say how foolish and how out of touch these people are. There's nothing really to say. And many are their agonies of the father due to the Torah. Like, just there's nothing to say. That these people are just so clueless, no pshat, that they're just being complete kafui toiv. Okay, so that's the aside. There are people that used to make fun of people that had baby girls, and the Pele is going on about how absurd and sad, and Hashem is going to take care of this. And the one who makes fun of these people is talking against the Eibishter. And lastly, how foolish they are for distancing themselves from their wives as if it's something in their control. Now, this might sound a little distant. This might sound like something a little abstract. Okay, these people are making fun of children that were girls. So what does that have to do with us? The answer is we take out the aside over here, that the Eibishter is the creator of everything. And if we see someone, he talks about a pauper, a poor person who doesn't choose his fate. He didn't choose to be poor. But you see someone who doesn't look right. You see someone who's not your type. Of course it's relevant. Of course it's Negea Lamaisa. Because the Eibishter is the one who creates, who decides everyone's path, how people look, how people, everything. We can work on our midas, we can work on our character traits, but anything beyond that, how financially set we are, how we look, all these type of things. The creator, who are we to decide? It's my type of thing. It does look right, it doesn't. It's the creator. And when you're not acting accordingly, then as the Pele says, one who mocks a pauper insults his maker. And nimsa shamalaga leidas habanis, or nimsa, that a person who disparages anyone because of their looks, because of something that's out of their control, is ultimately ach neged Hashem devare. Their words are spoken against the Eibush himself. Now the Yoeitz advises further. A father has the obligation to marry off his daughter as soon as she comes of age. As Chazal say in Psachim, if your daughter has reached maturity and she cannot find the match, free your slave and give him to her in marriage. And of course, it is the father-mother's responsibility to guard over their daughter and to ensure that she does not defile her dignity. And it's imperative, it's their mitzvah to make sure they get married to a suitable person at the right time. And additionally, it is incumbent upon a father to increase the marriage settlements to make sure that she's financially okay, that she has a wedding dowry available for his daughter to help his future son-in-law to whatever extent his means allow, to make it easier to secure a suitable marriage partner, a chassan, a husband for his daughter. And we are well aware of what the Gemara Pesachim says, that a man should be prepared to sell whatever he owns to marry his daughter off to Talmid Chacham. So we just learned over here how imperative, how it's a chiyuv for the father to make sure that his daughter gets married to Talmid Chacham, and he should allocate not just time, but assets, whatever his availability is, in order to ensure that his daughter marries a Talmid Chacham, a person who's going to dedicate his life to a life of Torah, mitzvahs, and going to take care of her in Apidarach HaTorah, Apidarach HaEmes. That is what we learn from the Gemaras, from the Chazals that we just quoted. I have to tell you an incredible Maisa. I heard this from my Rebbe firsthand, Rebbe Avram Flam in Monsey, New York, my yeshiva, Spring Valley Rebbe, the 8th grade. My Rebbe told me that his daughter was in Shidduchim for a whole bunch of years, and he started to feel stuck. Started to feel that there's what's the path ahead? Calling this shadchan, that shadchan, his wife was on the phone, and year after year, years were passing. And they just didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. No Yeshua in sight. And finally, Rabbi Flam realized that the Yeshua, the ultimate Yeshua, is only going to come from the Eibishter. The Yeshua is going to come when he realizes that when he surrenders and gives full control to the Eibishter, that's the greatest chance he's going to merit the Yeshua. And so, as time passed, he made a resolution: I'm taking a new track, a new course of action. And one day on Pesach, the second day of Pesach, this goes back quite a few years ago, Rabbi Flam had an Einfall. He said, I have nothing. Nothing's on the horizon. I feel like I'm fishing with a rod, but no hook. And right now, I need Yeshua to come. I have nothing. All I have is the Eibishter, and I need you. And I realize that the Eibishter is the ultimate shadchan. And he contemplated and he said, how am I going to put that in practice? How am I going to implement that and show Hashem that I really mean business? And he said, you know what? He went to his desk, second day of Pesach, second day of Chol Hamoed and Pesach, and he told the Eibishter, he said, it's now in the middle of Nisan, a few weeks, we have Svir until Shavuos. He says, Eibishter, how much would I give a shadchan if they were going to promise me a shidduch by Shavuos? He said, I for sure would write a check for $15,000. Rabbi Flam said, if I'm real, if I'm taking this seriously, I'm going to show you, Eibishter, that that's exactly what I am. He opened up his drawer, took out his checkbook, wrote a check for $15,000. And he said, Hashem, I know it's in all your control. I know you're the only one with power. I know you're the only one that will bring my daughter's husband to her life down the chuppah. It wasn't much longer. A couple of hours later, Rabbi Flam sealed away the check, put it back in his drawer, ready to give it to tzedakah if the right shidduch would come about. Mekachav, a few hours later, he hears his wife on the phone, talking back about a shidduch, and miracle literally unfolded, took place in front of his eyes. That phone call was a phone call about his future, Baruch Hashem, his current son-in-law, and that money went straight to tzedakah, as he promised. But it was all with this realization, as hard as it is sometimes to really submit. All the shadchanim, everyone's great, all the networking, all the texts and emails. But if somehow a person can come to a place of true emes, of true purity, and realize it's all the Eibishter and I don't need anything else, and I would give the money to Shadchan for $15,000, I'll give it straight to the Eibishter and he can orchestrate everything. And when he did that, he saw Yeshua's in front of his eyes. As we see in the Pele Yoeitz, it's a chiyuv upon a father to make sure his daughter gets married to a Talmid Chacham. Sometimes it gets hard. It feels like you're pushing literally Everest. There's nothing to move. But sometimes when we take a step back, we submit. We subjugate completely to the Eibishter. We're misbattling. We say, Eibishter, I can't do it. But I know it's only you and you can do anything. Whether it's $15,000, whether it's $1,000, whether it's committing more time to Torah mitzvahs, whether it's more tehillim, it doesn't have to be money. But it has to be with the realization, one step towards realizing it's all the Eibishter can do anything. And with that, anything and everything can happen, even a few minutes, a few hours later, because Yeshua Hashem is clarifying.